Okay, so this is the review video for IK retargeting. Right now there's nothing in this level except for what comes with the default third-person template. So I suggest that you start there because, as you know, we have a default character. Let those shaders compile for a second. We have our default character, Quinn, and Quinn can already locomote around the level. All right, but I don't have the other assets that I need. So I'm going to go to my Epic Marketplace, and I already have these in my library because I own them. But I'm going to import two characters, and one of them I'm only importing because I like the animations that it comes with. And the other one is not animated at all, but I'm going to be using stealing sort of the animations from character A and retargeting them onto the character that I want to play as. Okay, so the character in this case is going to be Ghost Lady, and I think I gave you these assets, and if I haven't, just let me know and I will package them up into a project and zip it up and make it available to you as a Dropbox download. So I'm going to click Add to Project and search for that IK, whatever I called it, IK Review. That's one of the assets that I need. So that's adding. I'll clear my search. And now I want to find the cyborg that I think that we were using. Cyborg. Was it this one? Sci-Fi Cyborg? Not compatible with 532. Okay. And I think that is probably what we're running. Let me just double check. I forgot which version of Unreal I launched here. So we'll go to About Unreal Editor. Yeah, I did this in 532. That's okay. We'll find a different cyborg to use. So I'll go back to my Epic Launcher. And again, type cyborg. Or maybe sci-fi something. A character. Sci-fi cyber robot. Why not? Okay, so that is compatible. I've got lots of characters, and I wish that these had metadata so that I could just type something like character and all of the characters would show up. But unfortunately, it's not the case, so we have to look for them by name. Okay, so that one is the one that I was just about to try. And you can use this one, by the way, because if you're using 5.2, that should be fine. I could use this one, but I think that looks too much like Quinn. But whatever you've got, I like this particular one. And we can just look at some things here and see if it's animated. And it's not, okay? And that's perfect, okay? You know what else? Because Ghost Lady Necromancer is a female character, I might change my mind about using this character and get one that's more obviously female. This one has just a very, very different body type. So let me go back and search in a different way. Girl. And I'm only typing this because of what they're called. Yeah, there it is. We used this one, Cyberpunk Girl. That's the one. Add to project. And that's also not animated, so that's the one that we're going to retarget onto. Add to project. Okay, and I want to just click downloads here, and as long as it says you have no tasks, that should be ready to go. And I can minimize that and go back into Unreal. All right, oops. In any case, I want to just check out some things about the skeletons and also the IK rig for the default retargeter for, you'll see, for the UE4 mannequin. So if I look at this UE4 mannequin, here's the IK rig, and I want to look to see what they've included in it. And I'm going to try to duplicate this as best I can, okay? Not much in there, okay? All the usual things. The only thing that I have to make sure to also include is the root, okay? Once I make my retargeting root. And it looks like the pelvis is not in here, okay? So I'm going to ignore the pelvis. Okay, so, oops, lights just turned off in here. Turn back on. Okay. All right, so now I know that about the UE4 skeleton. And I also can tell when something is using the UE4 skeleton if I just look for the spine, wherever it may be. It's going to be in there somewhere. Why don't I see the spine? Oh, because I'm only seeing the rig elements. Did they put the spine in here? Interesting that they didn't. I guess that's okay. Oh yeah, there it is, the spine. Okay, so it goes spine 01 to spine 03. I bet if I kept searching I'd find it in here, but remember there are 3 spine bones right up here. There are 3 spine bones in the UE4 skeleton, but there are, I think, 5 in the UE6 skeleton. All right, so I've taken note of just a couple of things mentally, and now I'm going to have to make 2 IK rigs. One for the Ghost Lady, which we're retargeting from, and one for the Cyberpunk Girl, which we're retargeting to. So inside this folder, Cyberpunk Girl, I'm going to make a new folder, and we're going to call this one Retargeted Animations. And I've just capitalized both words so that there's no space. And inside there, I'm going to type, or make 2 more folders. This one is going to be from Ghost Lady. And one more folder called Anim BP, because it's going to have an animation blueprint also. All right, going back out one level, still in the Cyberpunk Girl directory, I'm going to go into the Meshes folder. And this is a pretty good place to create a folder for your IK, either IK retargeter or IK rig or both. So I'll make a new folder in here called Rigs. And open that up. And now I'm going to make my IK rig. So I'll right click, hover over animation, scroll, not scroll, but move my mouse until I see this retargeting tab and choose IK rig. And I'm going to call this IK underscore cyber girl. That's good enough. It doesn't have to be named anything in particular. As a matter of fact, if you had a name for your character already decided upon, I could just like say IK Rebecca or IK whoever, you know, it wouldn't matter. So we'll say IK Cybergirl, IK Giraffe, you know, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so we've got our IK rig, and I'll dock it right there. And it needs a preview skeletal mesh. So I'm going to go ahead back to the meshes folder and choose the skeletal mesh that we are going to use. This one, the mask is off, but this one, the mask is on, and I like it better when the mask, I could use either one of these, but I like it better when the mask is fully closed. So I'll leave that highlighted. Go back here, and since it's highlighted, I can use the Use Selected Asset from Content Browser and just pop it in there. All right, and you'll be really, really zoomed in. So let's just frame this character up. Boy, what a great looking character that is. So let's make the IK rig now. Start by clicking this button, Add New Solver, and choose Full Body IK. And it will say that it's missing a root bone. So we want to take the root right-click it, and choose Set Root Bone on Selected Solver. Okay, and that will make that message go away. All right, it still says missing goals, but that's okay. It's implied that if you're using inverse kinematics, that there are going to be end effectors, or IK goals as they're called in Unreal Engine, and for this character those will be the hands and feet. But I'm just going to make my IK chains just in the order that I see the bones in this particular rig, and they may not appear in this exact order for every skeletal mesh. But if they're rigged to the epic skeleton, you should see all of the basic bones. Occasionally, you might see additional bones for other purposes, but we want to worry about the ones that are important to our animations specifically. So the next step is to select the pelvis, right-click on it, and we're going to set that as our retarget root. That's sort of like the point of origin, okay? This, as it turns out, because I compared that with the IK rig of the default mannequin, this was not in the list of chains. So I'm not going to add it to my IK chain mappings, but I do still have to set it as the retarget root. So we'll do that, okay? And it's informing me that it is the retarget root. Okay, let's do the spine now. So I'll select spine 1 and shift-click, select spine 3 to select all 3 bones. Right-click, and we'll use this bottom option, new retarget chain. And we want to always check the name, okay? The name should always start with a capital letter. And if it's more than one word, we leave no spaces but capitalize the first letter of each word. And also make sure that it is the thing that it's meant to be, okay? If this says something else, then you might have to retype it. And that often happens when we do the clavicles separately, which is how Epic has their default IK rig for the UE4 mannequin set up. So in this case, I just have to add the chain, and you can see that it appears here in my list of IK chains. Now we'll do the left clavicle. This is one of those times where I already know from experience that I'm going to have to rename it. So I'll right-click it, new retarget chain, and it's going to think that this is the left arm for some reason. But I'm going to change that to left clavicle. And before I press OK, I want to make sure that I spelled that correctly, and I capitalize the first letter of both words. Okay? So I'll add that to the chain mappings all on its own. Then we're going to do the left arm, which begins at upper arm left and should end at the hand. So I'll shift-click to select all 3. Right-click, new retarget chain. It named it correctly this time, left arm. But because I want the left hand to be an IK goal, I will hit this button instead. Normally I've been hitting add chain, but this time, because the hand is an end effector or an IK goal, we're going to choose this option instead, add chain and goal. And there it went. Okay. Now I'll do the fingers. Here's the index finger, 3 bones in the case of the UE4 skeleton anyway. So left index, that looks good. I'll add that chain. Do the middle finger next. New retarget chain, left middle. And you want to pay attention, get used to what their default names are, okay? You could compare that again to the IK rig of the UE4 mannequin, because that is in your characters folder. So make sure that you use the same naming conventions. So we'll add the chain, pinky, 1 through 3, right-click, new retarget chain, left pinky, add chain, ring fingers, or ring finger, left ring, add chain, 3 thumb bones, add chain, skip the twist bones, they're not needed. Here's the right clavicle, new retarget chain, and I see that it thinks it's an arm, but no, it's the clavicle. So before I get hasty and press enter, I'm going to just make sure that I spelled it correctly, and in fact I did not. Clavis. So I somehow missed the L, so we'll add chain. And now I got a little paranoid, so I want to just make sure that the left one I spelled correctly. Clavicle, okay. So that looks good. Now we'll do the right arm, which is the upper arm right through the hand, just like the left arm, okay. So new retarget chain, right arm, add chain and goal. Sorry about the lights turning off in my office. Add chain and goal. That's great. We'll move on to the fingers of the right hand. Index, index, new retarget chain, add chain. Yeah, and if the name is correct in the first place, then it will be spelled correctly. New retarget chain, right middle. Oops. I don't know if you know this, but I have a problem with my monitor in my office where the screen goes blank at random and then turns back on again after a few seconds. So if I have to stop every now and then, it's because that happened. But in any case, I'll add this chain. And it did just happen. My monitor shut off. So we'll do the pinky next. New retarget chain, add chain, ring, 1, 2, and 3, add the chain, and I am checking each time before I hit add chain. I'm making sure, confirming visually that this is what I intend it to be, add chain. And we're going to skip those twist bones. We're going to add the neck and head together. New retarget chain. It's going to be called head, and that is correct. We'll add that chain. And the legs are a little trickier. Remember, there's between the starting bone and the ending bone, there's a twist bone. And we do not want to include that in our chain. So I'm going to start by selecting the first bone, and then I hold down Control or Command if you're using a Macintosh. And I'm going to click now with Control held down. I'm going to click the other bones, but skipping over the twist bone. Like this, okay? And we're going to add chain and goal for the left leg, and that will make the last of those bones, which is the ball of the foot, an IK goal, okay? And we're going to do the other leg, thigh. We're going to do the same technique, hold down Control or Command, skip the twist bone, do like that, new retarget chain, right leg, add chain and goal. And in this case, I think we're pretty much done, so I'll hit save. And now we have an IK rig for Cyber Girl. Or Cyberpunk Girl, forgive me, okay? Anyway, I'm going to go back to content, and the one that we're going to be retargeting from needs to have an identical IK rig. So go into Ghost Lady, I'm going to go into Meshes, and let's go to Characters, and into Combines, because these are the ones, this is where the skeletal meshes are located. So in here I can make a folder and call it Rigs. And let's see, which one do we like? Doesn't even matter because ultimately we're not going to see this character for very long. So maybe that. I'll leave that highlighted. So we'll go into here. Actually, it's not highlighted, so but it because I went into a separate folder. But I can easily back out one level and highlight it when I populate the preview mesh. So in the rigs folder, right-click, animation, retargeting, IK rig, and I'll call this one IK underscore ghost lady ghost. Oh, come on, Ben. There we go, Ghost Lady. That's okay. And when I open this up, the first thing it's going to want is a preview mesh. So let me dock that up there. And then I'll back up one level and I'll select one of these meshes. It really doesn't matter which one because they all have the same skeleton. But because I have it highlighted, I can use selected asset from content browser. So I'll just pop it in there. And now I can frame up my character. You're going to start really zoomed in, but there we have it. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. I think I'll move a little bit faster now because you can watch this more than once. Add new solver, full body IK. Okay, you can see missing root bones. So I'm going to go to root, right click, set root bone on selected solver. Pelvis, right click, and this is going to be set retarget root, like so. Spine, 1 through 3, right click, new retarget chain, calling it the spine. No goal, just the spine. Add chain. This one has extra bones for the breasts, but those are not important for our animations. So we're going to not include anything that isn't necessary. Left clavicle, new retarget. Oops, that was a mistake, so undo. I accidentally, it was a slip of the finger. I said set retarget root. No, clavicle is going to be a new retarget chain, and it's not the left arm, it's the left clavicle. Add chain. We'll do the arm. Right click, new chain. This one is going to have a goal, being the hand. Add chain and goal. It's got an extra weapon bone. I don't need that. We'll do the fingers. New retarget chain. Left index is correct. Here's the left middle finger. New chain, add chain. The left pinky. New retarget chain, add chain. Left ring finger. New retarget chain, add chain. The thumb. A couple of twist bones we don't need. Clavicle. New retarget chain. It's going to misidentify this one as well. So I'll replace the word arm with clavicle. Being careful to spell it right. Okay. Add chain. Okay, and did I spell the other one? Clavicle. Yep, okay, that looks good to me. The left arm. Do retarget chain. We're going to add chain and goal like we did for the left arm because we want the right hand to be an IK goal. I'm going to skip that weapon, and now we'll do the fingers, starting with the index finger. New retarget chain, right index, add chain, middle. New retarget chain, add chain, pinky. New retarget chain, add chain, ring fingers. New retarget chain, add chain, thumbs. New retarget chain, add chain. And these twist bones we can skip. Here's the neck and head, so we want to highlight both of those, neck and head. Right click, new retarget chain called head, add chain. This one has facial bones that we can skip, and then we'll do the left leg. Same way, holding control so that we can skip over that twist bone, and it ends at the ball of the foot, which will be an IK goal. So we'll add chain and goal. And there's another twist bone, and this is for the right leg, comes next. So holding down control, doing the exact same thing. New retarget chain, add chain and goal. And that's it. So we'll save this one also. Okay, now we're going to be retargeting from the ghost lady to the cyber girl, or whatever it is. So in the rigs folder, what we'll do with Ghost Lady, who comes, by the way, with a lot of really good animations, is the one that we need to make an IK retargeter for. So right in that same folder, rigs for the Ghost Lady, we're going to go animations, retargeting, and this time we want to make an IK retargeter. And I can call this RTG_Ghost Lady. like that. Okay, double click, and might as well dock it to make life a little bit easier. Okay, so the target, so the source IK rig is going to be the ghost lady. Okay, and let's just zoom out and again reframe up the character there, and the target is going to be our cyber girl. Okay, and right now they're superimposed one on top of the other, so let's set a target mesh offset of 150 units so that we can see them side by side. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to there's going to be a lot of things in here. Okay, there's mostly it's going to be animation sequences, which is what we want, but I want to make sure that it doesn't have like pose assets or like animation blueprints. My light's turned off again. Okay, or blend spaces or anything like that. So I'm going to use the filter to ensure that. We're going to go animation. We only want to see animation sequences. Okay. And what we'll do is we can preview these and see how well this lines up. You know, most of these look really, really, really good. All right, so if I preview enough of them, you know, you start to gain confidence that this is going to be okay. Let's just check the walk and run. Walk. That looks perfect. Let's check run. That looks perfect as well. Okay, and I don't think I even have to auto map any chains, but I will do it anyway. So we'll say map all exact. That shouldn't make any difference because they both had identical IK rigs. But that, you know, that's good practice. Okay, so since this is filtered now, oh, just for animation sequences, beg your pardon, I forgot to check the box. Now I know, let me just check one more time, yeah, animation sequences. Now I can highlight all of these by clicking on any of them, doing a select all, Control A or Command A if you're on a Macintosh. And now we're going to go ahead and export the animations. Okay, so that button is right here. Click it. And remember, we made a folder that is going to be the recipient or the receptacle for all of these animation sequences. So they're going to go into Cyberpunk Girl, retargeted animations from Ghost Lady. That's where I want to put them. So we're going to export them so that they go where we want. If you didn't do that, they would just be loose in your root content directory. There they go. Okay. So since they're all highlighted right now, this might be a good time to do a Control S or a Command S. They all have asterisks, right? So we're going to save all of them. Control S. And they're ready for use, okay? But retargeted animations also has an animation blueprint folder, which is empty, okay? So we're going to go back to our content directory and look inside Ghost Lady again. Now this character was animated when I brought it into the project. So we're going to look under animation, in place, move basic. And don't be surprised if you download other characters and their animations. A lot of the times characters aren't animated even at all, and there are animation packs that you can get on the marketplace or elsewhere. But this one is an animated character, and it has an animation blueprint right here. Okay, it's called Female Anim BP. Because the animations and the IK rigs are identical, I can now just retarget this animation blueprint to our Cyberpunk Girl, and along with it, it will these are the assets that it's using: walk, run, jump start, jump loop, jump end, and idle, right? So we'll right click the animation blueprint, retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget. That's what we're going to click. And our source IK rig, oops, sorry, which IK retargeter do I want to use? The one for Ghost Lady, okay? And somehow it's just smart. It found our cyberpunk girl and put that into the target. But if it didn't do that, you could just search for it. It's going to be in there somewhere. But it was smart in this case. So once we've got this open, we don't want to click anything. We don't want to click retarget yet, because again, we want to put this into the folder that we prepared for it. So we're going to change the location for this, and we're going to go into Cyberpunk Girl retargeted animations, and this time we want to put it into the animation blueprint folder. So I'll hit OK on that, and then retarget. And I'm going to Control S these, saving them. And here is the animation blueprint, which I want to rename. Okay, so you can hit F2, or you can right click and just use the rename option. And I am going to just change this first part. Cybergirl and MVP. Okay, so that will be easy to find. Okay, let's do a save all, just to leave no stone unturned. And now we can back out into our root content directory and modify our third-person character. We'll do that by opening up this folder where that character blueprint lives, third person, blueprints, and here is the blueprint that is the character that we're spawning in as. It's BP underscore third person character, and I will right click that. I could also duplicate it and rename it if I wanted to preserve this original, but I guess in this context it's not all that important necessarily. So we'll go to the viewport, and there it is. The first thing I want to do is I want to change out the mesh. Okay, so we'll highlight it either here in the components panel, or just by clicking on the skeletal mesh here in the viewport. And what asset do I want to use? I want to use the I don't want to have to search for it in there. So let's go back and find that mesh. And it's this one. So I'll leave that highlighted, come back in here, and now I can just use that button. Okay? But this is still using Quinn's animation blueprint, so this is not going to look right unless we assign the correct animation blueprint. You can see it's using the wrong one. We retargeted and renamed one specifically for this mesh and this IK rig. So we're going to find that, and it's going to be called Cyber something. There it is, Cybergirl and MVP. And you can see now we've got the appropriate animation blueprint. Compile and save. Okay, so let's go back here and hit play. And you can see that this is working. Beautiful. Okay, I want to check on some things because I want to give this character the ability to walk and run. Okay, so let's look, because I know that it probably, if I look at the animation blueprint, and I'm just going to use the browse to asset from here so I don't have to dig around for it. Here's the animation blueprint that we made for the Cybergirl, and I'm going to open that up. And I want to look at the anim graph. So if that's not already tabbed up here, find it in this location and double click that. Okay, and we're going to look in the state machine, and it looks like idle to run is combined in one state, and it uses this blend space player. So it's not a single animation, it is a blend space, and I hit Control B, browse to asset, and actually, no, it didn't happen. I want to find that blend space because all of these other ones are animation sequences. This is an animation blueprint, but here's the blend space that's used inside of that particular state, right? Female 2D blend space player. So, where was I? That's what this is, okay? And I want to get some information from here. So I'll double click that. And if I hold down Control, I can use this little scrubber, and you can see that it blends between idling and running, depending on the speed of the character. So roughly, this is at probably 94, and this is probably at, oh, I can even see on the bottom, 375 is her max speed. So I might want to change those values in the character blueprint. First of all, off go the lights. Come on, lights, back on. Okay, they're motion sensing lights. Okay, so going into our third-person character blueprint now, we'll say character movement, and I want to set the max walk speed. So I'll just search for max walk. And that was, I guess, 375. And I think the other value for walking, I don't remember. Let me check again. Was it 95? 94. Okay, so the reason that I want that information is because I'm going to be just doing a little scripting in the event graph so that we can decide to walk or run. Okay, now as a matter of fact, let me do something further. I'm going to actually set the max walk speed here to 94. That way we will default, 94. It will default to walking. So I'll compile and save, and let's just test that out, make sure that that is the case. So here we are in the game, and we're walking by default, okay? And the other value for running was 375 in the blend space. We know that just by looking at the rightmost edge and finding the value 375. So I'll go back into the character, and now we're going to do a little bit of scripting. I want her to be able to switch from walking to running. Let me just clear the search there. Switch from walking to running while I'm holding shift, okay? So let's get that as a temporary input. I'll just type left shift, keyboard event left shift, and we can get the character movement component in here. And off of this, we'll do set max walk speed. And that will be on pressed. Okay. And we'll set that to 375. Remember, because that's the running speed. And then what we can do is we can duplicate this. Control D will give me another one of them. Oops. Which I can grab. Oh no, I double clicked it by mistake. So ignore that. And we will bring it down here. That character movement component has to also be the target. I've got Visual Studio loading in the background. So let's just give it a second. And let me quit Visual Studio. Continue to show the, no, just go away. I didn't want any of this to happen. Close. Close. Okay, we're good. So back in Blueprint now, left shift character movement component needs to be the target for both of these. And so while I'm holding shift, it's going to allow her to run. And then when I release the button, off released, right, I want to set this back to whatever we redefaulted our max walk speed as. Max walk speed was 94, so I'll type this here, 94. So it's going to default to 94, but if I hold shift, it will go to 375. And then if I release the key, it's going to go back to 94. Okay, so we'll compile this and save it. And now let's see if I can transition from walking to running. That looks great. And I can do that at will. And by the way, if you're using WASD, it's right under your pinky. Okay? So that makes it easy to do. And I love the idle animation, especially. That this came from Ghost Lady, but it's much better than Quinn's idle, right? Because it just seems much more alive. I like that. I cannot jump high enough to jump on top of that platform, but I would like to. So let's go back into the character and clear my search in the details panel. Make sure your character movement component is highlighted, and we'll search for jump Z velocity right here, which is set to 700. Let's try it at 900 and see if that's enough. Compile and save. And I'll go and play the game again. And the slow frame rate is mostly because of my screen recorder running at the same time. Jump. Can I make it? Yeah. Okay, so that's cool. Let's see. If I run and jump, I bet if I timed that properly, I might have been able to make up for that distance. Or, you know, you can also increase the jump Z velocity even more if you need to. If you want like superhuman jumping powers. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to implement the animation when she shoots the energy projectile out of her hand. So we will go ahead and do that now. We know that we have an animation that we can use for that here in the retargeted animations folder from Ghost Lady. And there's a few different spell casts. And we could preview all of these. And we can also use all of these if we want to. But I want to use this one so that when I press a certain button, the character does that. And then we can spawn a projectile, some sort of energy beam or something like that out of the hand. And it can use that as an offensive weapon. Okay? So let's get out of this. So I remember that the animation was anim cast spell 03. It's still highlighted. But it is an animation sequence. And what it needs to be is a different asset type. It needs to be what's called an anim montage or an animation montage. So to convert it, all you have to do, and that would be true for any of these, is we'll right click it and we're going to create anim montage based on that animation sequence. Okay, and I have no desire to rename it because all that it does is it just adds the word montage to the end, and that is just fine with me. Okay, so I can save that. I also have to remember that in order for the character to play an animation montage, it needs a slot in its animation blueprint. So let's look at the animation blueprint again. It's right here. Okay, so a moment ago we were talking about retargeting that, that attack or that animation for the beam. In the meantime, Unreal crashed on me, so I had to pause the recording and resume. So in order to play montages, we have to modify the animation blueprint a little bit. Okay, so we're going to double click that. And we want to look for the anim graph once again. This time we don't want to be inside of any particular state. Okay, so we'll just go, if we wanted to view the states, we would open up the state machine. But what we want is to place a certain node right before the final output pose, which will allow us to play montages, and we'll pull off and search for slot and choose the one that says slot default slot. Okay, that's all you have to do. Hit compile and save. Great. Now let's implement that. Let's suppose that I want this to fire off. My lights are off again. We want this to fire off when I hit my left mouse button. So we'll just type left mouse button. Mouse events, left mouse button. Okay? And I'll show you a few things here right now. If I press this and I type play anim montage, the node that we really want to use in this particular context is this one, the one that has this box next to it. All right, play anim montage. I'm sorry, the one that doesn't have the box. So there shouldn't be too many montages here because we only made one, and I don't know if anything else in the level came with any. So yeah, so this is the only montage that we even have in the entire project right now. So that's fine, okay? And if I compile and save this, it will work, but with certain caveats, and I'll show you what I mean. As a matter of fact, let me just use Pi mode so I can let you see this in full screen. All right, so there she is, and she's walking. And if I press my left mouse button, I can do that as many times as I want, and it will play that animation. But you'll notice that, oh, that's interesting. Oh yeah, she slides around, okay? This is the problem that we have now. It does not stop the capsule from moving around, so it sort of carries the character along with it, almost as if it's ice skating or something. And obviously that won't do. So let's go ahead and do a little more scripting to prevent that from happening. So I'll make some space in between the event and this play anim montage. So some stuff has to happen before this. So off of pressed, we're going to search for disable movement, character movement, and that will bring along with it the character movement component. And if it didn't, let's say that wasn't there. Oh, excuse me. Let's say if this wasn't there, it's referring to this. I could always drag this into the graph and connect it. Okay? So sometimes targets require the character movement component. Certain nodes just get it automatically, but some nodes don't. Okay? And such is the case for this one. Following disable movement, we want to do stop movement immediately. And you can see this one, if it says character movement, if I chose that one, it would do the same thing. I get the same component, which is redundant, okay? I've already got it in the graph, so I can just double dip, pull off of there, make that the target for both, okay? So let's compile and save, and check whether or not this works. Okay, I can walk, I can run, I can shoot that off, but now I'm stuck. I'm pressing W, A, S, and D and can't move at all anymore. Okay, so we need one more bit of scripting to happen. And it's going to be this. After we finish the montage, we are going to make use of this return value. The return value here is, you can read it, play anim montage on character mesh returns the length of the animation montage in seconds. So I want to use that with a delay node. Okay, and this will delay the execution flow before I re-enable movement on this character. So what I can do now is pull off completed. It will allow the montage to finish before I set the movement mode. Set movement mode, character movement. And once again, this is one that comes with the character movement component. which it's safe to delete because I already have that in the graph. Right there. Oops. Now my screen went black again. So I'll wait 10 seconds and it'll come back. There we go. All right, it's still in my graph, and I can triple dip on that if I want to. All right, and maybe I'll use the little reroute node right here just to make it a little bit more obvious what's supposed to be going on. Okay, once I've got the set movement mode, I have to set the new movement mode back to walking, which is its default movement mode. Compile and save. And we'll hit play. And again, the character can run and jump and do all those things. And if I'm locomoting and then I hit my left mouse button, notice that it stops me for the duration of the animation. But goes right back to walking or running, as the case may be, as soon as it's completed the montage. And it's perfectly timed, mostly because in the script we use this delay right here, and the delay's duration was the exact same float value as the duration of the montage itself. Okay. The next step in this project, of course, would be to create like an energy projectile that would spawn where her hand, at the extension of her hand. But projectiles are a different tutorial, so this one was meant to refresh you on IK retargeting primarily. Okay, so if I want to play other montages, of course, I could just go back into retargeted animations and find whatever animation I want to use. Okay, and you know, make it into a montage. You know, if I want to do, oh, I don't know, taunt. Why not? Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we'll do the taunt animation as well. What I could do is I could copy most of this. Okay, so copy and paste. So we've got basically the same thing happening here, except we're going to use a different montage. Okay, so let's go back into this and take this animation sequence, and like we did before, we'll create an anim montage, which we will not rename. Just press enter, and I'll select it right here, taunt. And I've just got to decide on a different input. I don't want it to be the left mouse button, so I will make it the letter T, let's say, for taunt. So I'll type keyboard. And then I'm just going to search for the uppercase T character, which is right there. Okay? And because most of the code was already set up, this will do the same thing. Okay, so we'll compile and save that, and now we'll go back into the level and play. That looks good. That looks good. I can do that, but I can press T and do that as well. Okay, and that will happen even if I'm already walking. If I press T because of disable movement and stop movement immediately, that will also not allow her to scoot around. Okay, so those are some animation basics in Unreal Engine that we can use. Boy, what a great idle. I just like that a lot. All right, so that's it. Thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to next time. See ya. Bye-bye.